Everybody, welcome to this week's mailbag. First question comes from Brew City. We were talking about this earlier today on Twitter, and I thought it'd be great to include into the mailbag. So he's basically saying, I've been putting about 10% of my bankroll in play each night. Is that too much? How much of your bankroll are you putting in play? So this is kind of a layered question. So if you're putting in 10% of your bankroll and you have, sorry, I gotta get lineups in. So I got my alarm going off. I got my dog barking. Like they say, keep Austin weird. Like your boy is doing that. Like this video series, I have kept it weird. So, but anyway, if you're putting 10% of your bankroll in and you don't have another source of income and you're putting it all on one team, like that's pretty aggressive. Like you're gonna need to hit something quick or you're gonna go busto. If you have a secondary source of income and you can supplement DFS and you're not worried about going bust, yeah, that's fine. I would recommend maybe spreading it around to where you have maybe 3 to 5% of that on your main guys and then spreading out the other 5% on some of the smaller guys. How much of my bankroll am I putting in play? So on a night like tonight, Tuesday night, there's 15 games and 5 different slates. So I'm putting about 3% of my bankroll in play on the main slate, and then about 0.5% to 1% on the smaller slates. So tonight, on a night like tonight, I'll have anywhere probably around 5%. That's pretty typical. I would say between 3 and 8%, depending on if it's baseball plus basketball or multiple sports are running. But if it's just a one-night sport, locked and loaded, full slate, all the games, I'm about 5%. But again, like I'm very conservative in my bankroll. Like I need DFS money pays my bills, so I can't get super aggressive and go busto. I don't want to have to go back to working 80 hours a week doing a job I hate. Like I'm very happy with my life right now, so I'm trying to protect that. But being conservative allows me to be really aggressive in my play and keeping my core players tight so that I have a lot of leverage. But that's a great question. I love answering questions like that. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's all about your comfort level, and we don't want to put any amount that's gonna in play that we're gonna lose sleep over. So that's a great question. I've never played the smaller slates. What should I expect? Are they softer? No, I wouldn't say they're softer in the sense of the competition. The competition is going to be solid, but that's the thing that actually has made me a better player. You start seeing a lot of the regulars and the really good players in the smaller slates, and you start beating them, you're like, dude, maybe I'm okay at this thing. But I think it's easier to have success in them because the field sizes are much, much, much smaller. They're about, on the main slate, you're looking at contests that are 10,000 people plus. The night slates, they're going to be 5,000 or less. Some of them are going to be 1,000 or less. So your opportunity to win more is going to be there because you're playing against smaller fields. I'm struggling to get over my fear of losing money and my loss aversion. Okay, I run into this a lot, quite a bit. So this is the reason I haven't been a good NFL player, because I have too many biases. So this is what I would recommend. So if you are struggling with loss aversion, I would say for the next week, whatever money you put in play, make it very small, like a couple dime times, couple jukeboxes. Like if you don't have a winning strategy yet, and to get over your fear, to purge you of your fear, start picking teams that make you really, really nervous to be on. Because one of these, so like tonight, like the Marlins are scoring 14 runs. Nobody's on the Marlins tonight. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Like, start looking for those teams where it's like, I'm not saying like go crazy, like don't attack like, oh dude, I'm gonna Scherzer's pitching tonight, Verlander's pitching tonight, so I'm gonna get on the other side. Like those guys are studs. So that's not what I'm saying. But like maybe find a team like the Marlins that's in a spot where they're gonna be low owned, or you have a team that is not very good, but they're going up against a bad pitcher. But whatever you decide on, pick a team that's going to make you nervous. They have upside, but you're going to be nervous in being on them, and do that for a week until you start seeing the fear go away. Because I guarantee if you land on a team that actually does score some runs, you're going to be like, dude, like this was so foolish. Like I don't know what I was so afraid of. Like again, go back to what we talked about earlier with my old baseball coach. Like you can't be afraid of failure. So whatever you're doing, purge your fear of failure, your loss aversion, your risk aversion, because that's the one thing that you can use to your advantage. I say it all the time. Like, I am not a great DFS player. I'm a good DFS player who wins. I make it count. But the number one thing that works for me is I am fearless. I am never scared of losing money. I'm never afraid of the teams that I'm going to be on because I know what my results say, and I'm disciplined to stay within my bankroll allocation. So if you can develop that kind of process, like, you're going to be like lights out at this thing. How do you handle weather and potential postponed games? So there's just one weather guy that I trust. Let me try to find him. I forget the gentleman's name. Mark Paquette, and he's at DFS MLB Weather. So let me throw that on here. He's at DFS MLB Weather. And basically, he will give like percentages of what a game could get rained out at, and I ignore it until it gets to 50%. If it gets to 50% or higher, I cross that game out and I don't play it. So that's my threshold. And, you know, don't get mad at Mark if he gives you a recommendation and it doesn't rain out, or it does get rained out and he said it wouldn't. Guy's not God, you know. So he can only do what he has with the information that he has to the best of his ability, and he's pretty phenomenal at it. So he's the guy that I trust the most when it comes to weather. Hey, John, I just started watching your 20 Max Part 2, talking about your entry strategy. Great stuff. Do you use same strategy on FanDuel? It seems like a lot less contest on FanDuel. Yeah, and that's pretty much the case. Like, for the main slates, you can get pretty good volume on FanDuel, but for any of the smaller slates, it really leaves a lot to be desired. And I just think for the newer player, DraftKings is so much better. I definitely want to, you know, play at FanDuel more in the future, but right now I'm just totally focused on my opportunity at DraftKings, knowing that I'm going to be forced to move up in stakes in about a year. I just really want to be as focused and dialed in on one site, and then when I get forced to move up, I'll start attacking the other smaller sites and FanDuel in the way that I have with DraftKings. So that'll wrap up the mailbag. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for stopping by and taking everything in. I'm just having a blast doing this stuff. I'm excited to launch some of the other projects that we talked in the announcements of this video, but I want this to be as interactive as possible. So I rely on you guys for feedback and ideas and things you want to see and cover. And I look forward to getting to know some of you doing some one-on-one stuff. Appreciate you guys so much. God bless.